think, Marge. All I need is a title.
Oh goody, I can already tell this is going to be a video filled with logical arguments grounded in reality.
In this video, we're going to be talking about the sun, the moon, but specifically, we're going to be talking about the eclipses that happen, the manifestations that happen through our sky at various points in the years. We have a few that are coming up in the months ahead, also into 2016. But specifically, I wanted to talk about the sun. Now, we have been told, do not look at the sun, ever. It is dangerous, it will burn your pupils.
We are told that it is not wise to look directly at the sun. In any case, you can look directly at an eclipse when it is a full eclipse and when you are in the path of totality. Trust me, I did it. What you're not supposed to look at is the few seconds before and after the total eclipse, because you'll basically be looking directly at the coronosphere, which is the brightest part of the sun. Looking at this part of the sun does not burn your pupils, the black circle in the center of your eye. Rather, the increased refraction of the eye's lenses puts an image of the brightest part of the sun directly onto your retinas, burning them and doing significant damage.
And this is where it gets very interesting. You would think that with the blazing hot sun, that would kind of make sense. But then we get into the eclipse, and they say, do not ever look at an eclipse. It's like they don't want us to see something in the sky. What are they hiding? Is it that they're trying to protect us? Or is it they're not wanting us to see clearly, truly, what's happening in the sky?
Yeah, they are actually trying to protect you from something, and here it is. This is a picture of a retina that has been damaged by looking directly at the coronosphere of an eclipse without the funny-looking protective glasses.
Maybe their lies would be exposed. We're told that the sun is 93 million miles away from the Earth. We're also told that the sun and the moon appear to be the same size in the sky. The explanation is that the diameter of the sun is almost 400 times the size of the diameter of the moon. The distance of the moon to the sun is 400 times greater. Therefore, this is coincidence. There is never coincidence.
Well, you are demonstrating quite nicely that you're an idiot. Here's a simple experiment. Put your fist about an inch off of the tip of your nose. Try not to hit yourself with it. Now look at your computer screen. The computer screen is still larger than your fist, but your fist dominates your view of the computer screen. The same thing applies to the apparent sizes of the sun and moon. The sun is 93 million miles from Earth, while the moon is just short of 239,000 miles. Thus, the moon will appear larger and will obscure the image of the sun, which is larger but is much further away from Earth. I must point out that this is elementary science below the level even of, say, Beekman's world, much less Bill Nye. So if you really can't grasp these simple concepts.
And this is what we want to investigate. The model that we have been told is a lie.
The model that we have has been proven to be true, given our own observations, not only of our own solar system, but also what we've been able to discover from other solar systems. They all seem to work in this same manner.
Not only has it been a lie, there are certain things that are in the sky they don't want us to know. Now, we've been told that the sun is extremely dangerous and it will damage our eyes. Solar eclipses are incredibly even more dangerous. Never, ever to look at them while they occur in the sky. This is because of the sun. But what's interesting is we were told that the sun reflects off of the moon at night as we see the moon in the sky. Now, have you ever been told never to look at the moon? We know that's silly. Everyone looks at the moon. No one ever goes blind. But yet it's reflecting the sun's sunlight.
We can look at the moon without damaging our eyes because of how the reflection of the sun's light off the moon works. Astronauts who landed on the moon reported that its surface was a dark gray color, and we see this as the darker areas of the visible moon. Because of the color of the moon, it only reflects about 12% of the sun's light to Earth.
In the night sky. So this is where it gets interesting. Why? Why have we been told that never to look at the sun, never to look at an eclipse, but it's okay to look at the moon? What if the moon was its own light source? What if the sun and the moon were two different light sources?
Anaxagoras brought philosophy and the spirit of scientific inquiry from Ionia to Athens. His observations of the celestial bodies and the fall of meteorites led him to form new theories about the universal order. He attempted to give a scientific account of eclipses, meteors, rainbows, and the sun, which he described as a massive blazing metal larger than the Peloponnesian Islands. He was the first to explain that the moon shines due to reflective light from the sun. He also said that the moon had mountains, and he lived from about 500 BCE to 428 BCE. During his life, the Greeks passed a law banning anybody from not practicing religion, so therefore he was arrested for his theories on how the universe worked, because they seemed to go against religion.
And no, it wasn't just the one sun. This is where I'm going to stop, and I'm going to tell you a little story. The story is, a long time ago, actually, up until 500 years ago, everyone believed that the world was flat in an enclosed system with the sun, the moon, and the stars all inside the firmament, as the Bible calls it.
Yes, and humanity also used to believe a lot of things that the expansion of science proved to be false, such as the idea that the Earth is flat, or there was a dome-like structure above the Earth where the sun, moon, and stars reside. Please note that neither this author nor the Bible ever mentions the existence of other solar systems and other worlds.
It's interesting that all of a sudden Copernicus comes out and explains a new heliocentric model, and everything starts changing. Evolution gets introduced. Everything for our existence, God gets pushed away.
Yes, because science tends to disprove fantasy bullshit.
And yet the lies continue, and people still believe everything that happens. I'm going to say that no, not everything is the way it seems. Keep watching, find out.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Okay, so here we're going to cut this because the author goes into a video depiction of the creation story, which describes how the firmament was created, and you can get the same information by simply reading the first chapter of Genesis, if you feel like torturing your brain. And now I'd like to introduce you to some real science. The atmosphere of the Earth extends to a height of about 62 miles, after which spacecraft enter what we know as outer space. The atmosphere is composed of a number of layers that are stacked up on top of each other until you reach the 62-mile threshold and leave the atmosphere. The Van Allen radiation belts extend 58,000 kilometers from the planet, or about 36,039.5 miles. With the moon being just under 239,000 miles from Earth, this means that humans have in fact traveled beyond the Van Allen belt, and thus outside of the firmament. Yes, and you yourself have already pointed out that Galileo postulated the heliocentric theory, which not only expanded human knowledge, but also pushed fantasy bullshit like the belief in a sky daddy out of the center of human social and scientific belief.
Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
Using the Bible as proof that something happened does not fucking cut it. Where is the scientifically based, meteorological, archaeological, something else-logical proof that this thing happened? In other words, prove it. Yes, in fact, the Earth, the Sun, the Moon, and all the other planets are all moving. This includes all of the comets, other solar systems, and other galaxies. Pretty much everything in the universe is moving in some form or another. Yeah, and guess which one has been proven to be right?
It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in.
Yeah, because the men who wrote the Bible knew a whole lot about their world back then.
For he looketh to the ends of the earth, and seeth under the whole heaven.
This bullshit has already been debunked by information earlier in this video.
We need to always look to the Word of God to find out the truth about the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth even we live on.
Yeah, 'cause why believe in science for anything? My holy book says differently, so let's believe the fairy tales written there instead.
This will help us to clear up any misunderstandings that we've been told about the lies throughout history, even up to present day. Look up at the sky. We've been told not to look at the sun, or eclipses for that matter, but we can look at the moon. Interesting. It is like it's magic. When you look at the moon, you've been told that it's the sun. It's the same thing. It's pretty clear. If you look at the diagram, you'll see other models are presented. Do your research and try to look beyond this world and everything that it has to offer.
Shut up! God, dust! Morons! I'm surrounded by morons!
Explain, research, and try to look into things from a different perspective, something that hasn't been force-fed to you throughout all of your upbringing, from school, spinning the globe in your kindergarten or grade 1 class. Look out at God's creation. Know that it's created differently. Man has always tried to pervert throughout Satan's guidance throughout the history of the world. This is no different.
Sure, Just believe that load of crap that's been forced down your throat for the last roughly 2,000 years since the founding of the Christian Church. Don't believe the evidence when you see it with your own eyes, that the earth is round, that the planets move the way that they do, that the universe is how it is. Just shrink back into your fairy tale and continue to be a deluded, ignorant chump. As for me, I think we're done here. The viewers have gotten a fairly good idea of what this person is like. If they want to view the whole video, I will have a link in the description below. But unless you want to drain your IQ, I wouldn't recommend watching it.